Alright, this is the light cahill wet, which happens to be a really good summertime fly because of all the light
Thank you.
flies that are in the water, the yellow Sally, the light cahill, the tan caddis, and the trout get used to seeing light flies that possibly have drowned, and this worked really well from June on.
Thanks.
I already turned down the barb of the hook with these pliers, and then I wrapped the thread from starting from the behind the eye on back towards the bend of the hook. This is natural wood duck fibers, but you could use mallard and that's dyed wood duck, but I'm fortunate enough to have this, so all I'm doing is cleaning the fluff off of the stem of it. The tail part, the fibers don't have to be that pronounced, and I just take a bunch of fibers and place it right near the bend of the hook and wrap towards the eye, cutting off the excess. And I bring my thread back. I like to take one pass underneath the tail fibers just to keep them up from being pushed in a downward direction. Next we take some tan dubbing material, which may be easier if I take this upside down, but we'll see. Let's see how much we got. I like keeping it relatively thin. I think we're going to open this up and take some more out that way. This is rabbit with some synthetic material in there to give it a little sparkle. Alright, about an inch and a half of dubbing material on there. I advance it as close as I can to the hook. Bring up my thread and try to make, well, let's see, we'll go once behind the tail and bring it up towards the front. I want to keep the body relatively slim and tapered. Go back to the wood duck. Now here I'm going to want a substantial wing. Angle it about 45 degrees, and it should end right around where the tail is. Some people will make a shorter wing than that, but I like a pretty much prominent wing. And I go over the fibers again to help secure it. Bring my wing forward, get one wrap underneath it.
No thorax?
No. And now here comes the part that the vote's still out on it. The original pattern, they use ginger. Ginger is a good color combination, but I think it's a little on the dark side for a light colored fly. Or you could use pale blue dun. I like the pale blue dun, it just gets a little lighter look towards it. These are both hen necks. Hen necks, by the way, these days are excellent. A lot of different breeders have them, and they're soft. The stems are very flexible. They're easy to wrap, and they come in small sizes, which, you know, this is size 16. You want something that's relatively small. When I prepare the feather, I get rid of the terminal stem. It's going to be tied in at the tip. and I just stroke it back so I have a small tip. Come down a couple of times. Now what I do to secure it, because sometimes I found if I pull too hard on my hackle pliers, this will come out and I'll have to start all over again. So I just turn it back, the tip of the hackle, and that kind of gets like an L joint and it kind of locks it in. And it doesn't really damage the appearance of the fly.
Well, why'd you tie it in from the tip? Because sometimes you tie it in from the stem.
Right. When you're doing a dry fly, you tie it in from the stem. When you do a wet fly, you tie it in for the tip. The reason being is that on a dry fly, you want the fibers to stand out perpendicular to the hook shank as much as possible. In a wet fly, you want everything going back down. The smaller fibers are towards the tip of a hackle to begin with. You want to use mainly smaller fibers on this, so I'm compensating on it. And that's the way it's been done from time immemorial, you know, classically, to tie it that way. And it works, so.
If you tie it the other way, the fish won't take it.
They'll know.
They'll know.
They'll see it and they'll say,
They'll spit it out. They'll say, oh, that's...
God, tastes wrong.
So just bringing it back and stroking the fibers towards the rear of the hook. And about 3 or 4 wraps gives a significant amount on it. You don't want it too bushy, but on the same token, you don't want it where it's not there at all. So, all right. And again, I keep pressing everything back, and I build up a nice little head, which helps keep the fibers going in a rearward direction. Trim off any excess without hopefully hitting my thread. This is a neat little whip finishing tool. It's made for small flies, but I use it even for large flies. It's made by TMC. Not to be confused with TMZ, the TV show. And allows you to get into little areas which you couldn't with a larger whip finisher. I always double whip finish and then flip that off, and there we have our little swing. Come up a little bit, but yeah, there it is. That's our...
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it works, and fish love it, so who's to argue?